We're reviewing the Reflexive Performance Reset, known as RPR, and this is the basic effects of an RPR breathing reset. So some of the effects that we've seen as coaches, these come from various systems of analytics. One example here is loading during a hard practice. We use the catapult system to measure the loading, which is often to be questioned. Well, how did you measure the load? And what we had was a team that was practicing fairly hard. I should say the practice was actually harder than the game that the kids, athletes endured. We had two heart rates on that team that had reached lows of 53 and 58 during rest periods, which is pretty amazing, and a majority of the team would spend most of their time between the 60s and 80s in the rest periods. The actual same team at one point had super low heart rates. They were not parasympathetic, overtrained, because of various systems such as the omega wave would indicate that, and none of these were actually indicated. And it would, don't want to say impossible, but almost impossible for a hockey athlete to be parasympathetic overtrained. They would usually be sympathetic overtrained. This college team had a number of resting heart rates, roughly around 45 to 50. Athletes had resting heart rates of 36 to 42 in the morning. I had a three-time Olympic athlete. This particular female was doing a bike workout, and this particular bike workout, she gauged her fitness levels on. She gauged her readiness. The standard was about 160 beats on this bike workout, and that's what her heart rate had been for about 3 years, pretty much steady. And if she was overtrained, it would be a little higher. If she wasn't overtrained, it would be, if she felt really, really good, it might drop a few beats, but that was her guidelines. Well, after the first RPR breathing reset, that same bike workout, her heart rate stayed at 140. You know, we're talking the same watts and the same resistance, but her heart rate, because of her breathing pattern, had been reset, and the function of her breathing, her particular heart rate stayed at 140. Another example of this was of a parasympathetic shift, and functional breathing patterns were restored. What we had was an Army Ranger slept in 2-hour intervals for a number of years, and right after his first breathing reset, the particular Ranger slept 13 hours straight his first night. Didn't know that, didn't realize that, because he woke up, it looked like only an hour later, which was typical, but it was actually 13 hours later when he fell asleep at 8 and woke up at 9. So, and then just to keep in mind why this is important, the very best athletes that I've seen often shift from a parasympathetic, an excited state, to a very parasympathetic very fast. They can change in and out. They know when it's time to go, and they go, and then when it's time to relax, they calm themselves way down. Another example is I had a 30-plus-year-old pro. I monitored him with a number of systems, worked on his recovery. He was not a trained athlete of mine, but his recovery in the first month of the season is usually what took place. So I don't truly believe in recovering athletes until it's time to recover. Well, the first year I'm monitoring, he had to recover the first month of the NHL season, and then application of the RPR system and resets the following year. He actually didn't really need to recover until the last 3 to 4 weeks of the season. So basically, with this statement, it builds a resilience for training and season-long performance, and it allows you to have a great ability to adapt and heal yourself because of the parasympathetic and the sympathetic shift that can take place. In the parasympathetic shift, you'll recover faster. You can be more specific with recovery, because your body will actually respond to recovery methods when it's more parasympathetic and calmed down than if it's excited and heightened. Okay, and then also with this, your training effects can actually be improved, because if you're super sympathetic, there's often a mixture of a training effect. There's multiple adaptations that take place in all different parts of the organism when it actually should be very specific stuff that you're working on, and the body only utilizes the most specific adaptations that you want in your training, so your training can even be more effective.